Anyways, weather's been fantastic. A lot of fun things in life going on. Daughter in the Girl Scouts or whatever, pushing cookies. Oh, it's almost over. But anyways, yeah, I thought I'd hop on, update on projects, everything like that. South Dakota Medal of Honor recipients. Um, I really enjoyed doing those. One of them, in particular, though, and I'm sure you guys probably even got the point of it while I was looking at it. So you had, oh, let's see, what was it? Master Sergeant Keeble, aka Eagle Feather. He's from the Wahpeton Sisseton tribe, and lived out in that reservation, between Sisseton. Uh, let's see here. Let me break it down and make it a little bit more context here. So, um, if you were to be driving south from Fargo, Wahpeton, Lake Tavernese Reservoir, or whatever, is kind of like where the reservation begins for the Sisseton Wahpeton tribe. You get onto the reservation land as you cut through it on I-29, and all the way down from there to be a little bit past Sisseton, I believe, heading south or whatnot, is basically all reservation land. Sisseton, for a while before I moved out here to South Dakota permanently a couple of years ago, I was living in Moorhead, which is the Minnesota side of the Red River where Fargo's at. And my wife was down here, and so I'd drive down here on weekends and drive through Sisseton, and drive through Wahpeton. And there's some really great people out there. It's a pretty cool area. Um, I enjoy the indigenous and their cultures and things like that I've learned. Really, really interesting, cool stuff. But like Keeble on his own, I had been in Sisseton before because I've purchased a few hunting dogs from some dog breeders that lived there, or even further south at a place called Watertown, South Dakota. It's basically just on the way to Sioux Falls from that point. But I great dogs. I enjoy the area. I've walked past a lot of the monuments and things like that Sisseton has up for some of their tribe members who had served in the military and received valorous awards and whatnot. And Keeble just has always stood out to me. He fought in World War II. He, he was to be drafted onto the Chicago White Sox, but he was enlisted in the National Guard Army Reserve, and so they had activated him. And he didn't play professional baseball. And from my understanding, and from people either from his tribe, heard from word of mouth and whatnot, is he was a hell of an athlete. 6'4" Native American dude, 200 plus pounds and he was just muscle. Just a badass. What I really liked reading about his his tactics and things like that. If you let's see here, it would be Frozen Chosen. Trying to think here which battle it was, because he's in so many. World War II, World War I. All right. Anyways, regardless, in Korea, the valorous act that he did that earned him his Medal of Honor or whatnot, it just every time I think about it, how nuts and how crazy it is. Now with combat, dealing with pillbox machine gunners and everything like that who have the high ground. Well, Hollywood's portrayed some of what that stuff looks like if you were to watch like Saving Private Ryan, or you were to watch Iwo Jima or any of that type of stuff. But it's truly that brutal. Now imagine being a 6'4" huge target. This dude got shot 6 times. He would just get patched up and go right back out to the fight. And I just thought in my head, good hell, man, what a freaking animal. This dude's badass. But on top of it, he and for everybody who isn't really caught up on their history, the whole Korean War conflict was more so the United States fighting Canada. They were the Chinese Volunteer Army. So when Keeble speaks about them, that's why you always hear Chinese or anything along that line on any of the content that I've put out. But here's this big dude, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to kill all the Chinese, or they're going to kill me in the process, but I'm going. And he army crawled up, which, being a big dude like that on the low ground or whatever, visibility, I don't know how he pulled it off, but good hell, it's amazing. got around to the left side, shot those dudes, threw a frag in there, blew those dudes up, crawled back down all the way around to the other side, repeat, and then gets over to the last bunker and tosses a grenade in. And as soon as they come running out, he just shoots them all. And I mean, he took out 3 pillboxes. And it's the actions that he did saved a lot of lives, because that was a huge retreat that those men were at that point. And the thing that really, it's very saddening and upsetting. He's already got his Silver Star with Valor V device on it, which for those of you that don't know, it means you really did something, above and beyond whatever your regular duty is to get a V device on those. I mean, it's a high award, and that's also another reason why when people in the military hear other people bullshitting about their awards, especially awards like that, it's a big deal, because most of the time those types of awards are awarded posthumously. But with this whole battle, and then the United States, ends up leaving Korea back in the States, he was recommended for the Medal of Honor for this act. Paperwork was sent out. For some reason, it disappeared, never made it. So, same people, for his company or whoever it was, chain of command, however it went, filled out another application for it. Somehow, again, it got lost. And, he did they ended up giving him the Distinguished Service Cross, but they wanted to get it upgraded to a Medal of Honor again. So 3rd time around, they tried doing it, and they were told, oh, well, you know what? So much time has lapsed by the time you guys filed this one that we're not going to be able to process it. Now, that's complete bullshit. Whether it's racism or not, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I would have to say it had to do with his background, though, in this case, because 57 years later, it got pushed. His wife at the time and his tribe and everybody, after he had died, are pushing to have this Distinguished Service Cross upgraded to a Medal of Honor. And finally, some politicians in North Dakota and South Dakota, these politicians filed the paperwork, tried to do motions, have it changed and adjusted, got it approved. It's 2007. And what happened, his wife ended up dying before she was able to receive that award on his behalf posthumously. So, it sucks, but at the same time, his tribe, very supportive people, and his stepson was able to meet George W. and receive that. But I just think it took that long for this man to get that. And it's one thing when there's acts of valor and it's like one person witnessed it. But when you have an entire squad or who can back it up 100%, and people who aren't even in your platoon or squad that you're co-opting with or doing a joint operation with, all verifying it, the only way that you can make that not happen is, hey, I don't know what happened to the paperwork. It got lost. I mean, come on, man. It's sad shit like that, because, eventually he got it, but it would have been nice for him to receive it while he was alive. After he was discharged from the North Dakota National Guard, due to all the wounds he had and stuff like that, shortly thereafter he contracted polio, or he had polio. His first wife died. He just had his son. He was sort of helping run some of the boarding house schools, or what were once former boarding house schools. Now it's like the Circle of Nations school. I believe I mentioned that in the contact. But he gets to the point where he can't work. He ended up actually selling off his medals for money because of poverty. And, it's just freaking awesome, dude. And nobody ever hears about it. And there's so many people in the Marine Corps, for instance, because of the culture, you better know your damn history. One of them would be, Dally the Devil Dog, or Chesty Polar, five Navy Crosses, stuff like that. You've got Carlos Hathcock, being like the ultimate sniper who basically wrote the book of sniping for the Marine Corps Scout program. And, there's all these types of people. Now, Keeble was in the Army, he wasn't in the Marine Corps, but you don't hear about him very often. I mean, in fact, I wouldn't have known about him if I didn't drive through Sisseton and look at all these things or go to the VFW out there or anything along that line. And so, it's this is like one of the biggest stories or anything like that I've put out here content wise, that I feel like it's actually something really important to put out. And, get a lot of these guys don't get the recognition I think they deserve. You know, and then, there's some really sad stories too. You've got men who were brave as hell. Like just recently, I did Private First Class Herbert Littleton. Um, he was only 21 years old. He hopped on a grenade, so his team wasn't going to get blown up. He took it for all of them, and made sure to take the radio off because he was attached to an artillery battery unit at the point. Took the radio off to make sure it wouldn't get damaged as he's jumping on a grenade. Now, I mean, without hesitation or thought. And, a lot of these guys get overlooked, and I just think it's freaking amazing. I mean, just, it's terrible and sad. Most of them died, whether it be combat or whatnot, but, you just don't hear about it. I think people are so focused on, I don't know. It's long overdue, the attention and recognition a lot of these people get. Let's see other things on the agenda today, guys. Sorry, I was rambling. I get excited about South Dakota Medal of Honor and things like that. I'm sure anybody that's actually watched my channel in the last few years. I like to go to the Capitol building here. I like to look at their Medal of Honor wall of all the people that have gotten it that are from the state of South Dakota. The Capitol Lake right in front of the Capitol building. I actually got married there. Now, not on the memorial portion, but off to the side. And, it's just, I don't know, I enjoy it. Or like how we have the hometown heroes here, where they hang up all the new men and women going out to the military. They all like to have those flags hanging from all of our light posts and things like that with their pictures on it, So, I mean, moving here was awesome. It's, just how they treat, veterans or just how they view it and stuff like that. It's a lot of appreciation and these people deserve it. Right now, the South Dakotan I'm working on is actually our governor, former Governor Joe Foss. Now, he was a Marine Corps pilot in, what was it? World War II. He'd gotten like 26 killed or 26 zeros over the Pacific Ocean, during Midway and Guadalcanal, which is probably one of the worst battles, nastiest battles out there at the time in World War II. But I mean, he being a pilot and earning a Medal of Honor, how many people, in aviation get those that are still alive when they get it? Joe Foss would end up retiring. Then he'd end up becoming, I believe, a brigade general at some point for like the National Guard, if I recall right. But, we'll dig into that deeper. But, later on ends up running for governor of South Dakota, makes it. And, unfortunately, he died, I believe, back in 2003. But he was a pretty interesting, neat guy. Something about Pierre, you guys may see also like bronze statues all over the place. If you ever came out here, we have statues of all our governors, throughout the entire city. It's interesting at the same time, but I always looked at Joe Foss and it's like, the guy's wearing his aviation hat, all that junk. And I'm just thinking, I'm curious about this dude, looking him up, and, getting a Medal of Honor for being an aviator is in that many zeros, over that, shooting the Japanese people down or whatever in World War II is just crazy. And those planes that they flew around in back then were not as high tech as the ones, obviously, the attack planes we have now, like the A-10s or your AB, Harriers and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's a cool, interesting place. It's a small town, but I love it. I love it out here. So, on that note, because of sidetrack rambling, there is a National Guard museum here. I believe I posted I was going to try to go to it yesterday. Turns out they're only open Monday through Friday. And, it's kind of bummed because I'm taking my kids to go do stuff like that and go check out that stuff. It's pretty neat, and it would have been fun to get some recordings and content from there so people can see some of this stuff. But You know, it's Monday through Friday. I get it. But hopefully I'll get that content out to you guys. I don't like telling people I'm going to do something and then not end up doing it. So hang in, and thanks for bearing with me on that one. If you guys, any suggestions on content or questions any of you guys have, feel free to comment. I'm always more than happy to try to help out. Some quick things before so though. Whenever people ask me what's a good starter gun or what's the best pistol to have, my answer is going to be this: whatever you can shoot the most comfortable with is what you should have. I mean, there really is no best for anybody. It's usually just straight matter of opinion. Um, Good handguns aren't cheap, and cheap handguns aren't good. You know, and there's that old saying, and that's probably another one to kind of listen and go by. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to go out and buy a oh, what do you call them? What the hell is the name of that pistol? Everybody's like popular with them right now. Anyways, but you know, get something that suits you, your budget. Try shooting guns out. If you live in a city area where there's ranges and things like that, try renting some of their firearms there and shooting them to find out what feels good for you to shoot. Um, you know, for the longest time, I hated Glock. I just hated the look of them. I never, you know, really shot them that often or whatever. You know, law enforcement trendy gun. Then I shot one a bunch more, and you know, that's kind of, I went out and bought a Glock 19. You know, it's a great everyday carry gun. It's as simple as it gets, and that's kind of the route I like to go. But you know, Glocks aren't super expensive. I'm not going to push Glocks for people though. Like I said, if you're getting a pistol for sporting or something like that, make sure when you're reviewing that stuff you want a sport pistol, or you know, anything like that. In that case, if it's concealed carry, you're going to want to think about options with that. You're going to want a smaller firearm, or what else? And then, you know, the other main thing I would always recommend to people if they're going to buy pistols, buy a good holster, because negligent discharges, you know, you see these people tucking them in their pants or doing dumb shit, and basically having a crappy holster is like changing kind of like changing your circumstance to if, more like to when. So I mean, that's just a thought on the matter. I know a lot of people comment and critique that one, but whatever, I don't give a shit. So anyways, guys, that's kind of it. You guys all enjoy the rest of your weekend, and take care. If I can get it. There we go.